Their victory in the Manchester derby, brought about by the return of Michael Carrick to the dugout. What, Jamie, was most striking about the victory for you?
It felt like a back-to-basics sort of approach, and I mean that in a complimentary way, because they only had a few days on the training pitch.
Three, I think.
3 days, the news, a new coaching setup as well. Let's not overcomplicate this. And the best way to describe it, it felt like a throwback to the days when I played, how they went about it. We've just looked at Chelsea, man-to-man press and man-to-man mark, and that is a big part of football now, certainly in the Premier League. But this felt like a throwback with Manchester United. It was almost a bit zonal, send the ball to one side, and then we go there. But when you talk about back to basics, what no one can stop you doing is running out of possession. And that was absolutely out of this world for Manchester United. And, as I said, distance out of possession by Manchester United players this season. 4 of the top 5 were in the game against Manchester City. So that tells you exactly what this game is about. They were going to need energy against the biggest rivals. But the standout for me was Kobbie Mainoo, who I thought was fantastic in the game, alongside Casemiro, who was excellent as well, that real partnership together. But it wasn't just about running. What was the idea? So the idea for me, and I said when I say it was a throwback, but we've got the 4-4-2 zonal press. We've just seen Chelsea do man-to-man press. What's interesting, and we're going to get to this with Thierry later on, is Manchester City definitely made this easy for them because they never had any players between the lines, Thierry, and that's something we're going to get to later on with Bruno Fernandes.
Between the lines, yes.
But this is what we would have done. This is what Arsenal would have done in the past, right? So the idea is, OK, we're all in a zone. We start now, and what do? We're going to let the ball go to the youngest centre-back, or maybe the weakest centre-back, if you like, on his weak foot. So he's a right-footed player. He's on that left foot. Max Lane, young player, still learning his trade. So the ball's going to come here, and then we're going to press, OK? As the ball comes across, the thing to really look at is Kobbie Mainoo. And he had a role all day to look after Rodri in that midfield. So he was jumping out of central midfield. So what did that mean? A big problem for Manchester United over the last couple of years has been this man, Casemiro, left alone in the centre midfield. So your midfield partners jumped to stop one of the best players in the world dictating the game. So this means Ahmad and Dorgu have got to get inside and get narrow. So we see it now as the ball comes in. It comes into the striker. He loses it, Haaland. He makes a tackle, Martinez. Look at the distance between the two midfield wide players, Dorgu and Ahmad. That could be Giggs and Beckham. When you think of the wide working players they've had in the past, and that's what you need as a Manchester United, you need pace going that way, but you need to get back and tuck in. And look how narrow. There's Mainoo and there's Casemiro. That could easily land at the feet of Bruno Fernandes and make a counter-attacking opportunity. Another clip is exactly the same. We'll press this side. We've got absolutely no problem with the ball coming to Max Lane here. On his weak foot, stepping in, and again, the same idea. Kobbie Mainoo in with Rodri. Dorgu comes across, and you've almost, we talk about the diamond formation. We think of that with the ball. This is almost like a diamond press. You've got one of your central midfielders jumping out, but the big thing is your wide players. Look at Dorgu tucking inside and making it really difficult for Manchester City to play through their number 10s. And then they go long again on the weak foot, let him have the ball, play on his weak foot. But Thierry, Manchester United wasn't just about what they did off the ball, it was what they also did in possession.
Yes, indeed. And when you want to play against Manchester City, you also need to be able to hurt them when you're on the ball. And the space that we were talking about, Bruno Fernandes will operate in between the two lines of 4, and Man City didn't do it so often. Look at the awareness of Fernandes. He can see that Mainoo dropped. Lisandro Martinez has a possibility of pass, so you have to help in the space, higher. So you can attract Rodri. Now the ball goes to Mainoo that came to play underneath him. We go on the other side. And if he wasn't, unfortunately for Dalot on that one, a bad pass, they would have had an opportunity to score.
Mentioned this role of Mainoo and Rodri. Now, we spoke about it being higher up the pitch. It was exactly the same plan when they were deeper. Manchester City will push you back because they have great possession, but the plan was always the same. So you see, he steps out with him here. Now he drops in alongside Casemiro. As soon as he sees the ball coming into Rodri, he presses again. As the pass is made, again, look at that midfield. Look at Dorgu's position there. Tight to Casemiro, Ahmad tight. No chance that these 3 players, either in front of the midfield or behind the midfield, could get on the ball because of the compactness of the team, but also the midfield. So Mainoo It was fantastic. Casemiro the same. And before you know it, wide players picking the ball up in counter-attacking positions again. Bruno, who was absolutely outstanding in the game. And who does he find? Dorgu. We've just mentioned the position of Dorgu, almost on the same level as Casemiro, protecting that midfield space. Brilliant from the midfield players all around.
And again, I love what Carrick offered on the goal kick. He knew, obviously, that Man City was going to press. But what I like, if you compare it to what Man City did, you are going to explain it. But first, I need to explain what's going to happen to be able to explain what happened at the top, because it happened at the same time. When you see this type of situation, obviously, you're inviting Man City to press, as you can say here. It's almost a man-to-man. Lewis is there, wingers inside. So it's a back three with your holding midfielder shielding, right? We all know that's what you do. If he jumps to the goalkeeper, because your goalkeeper is the extra man, we pop to go to where the striker came. So you know your centre back is going to be free. So I explained that first part. Let me go to the next part. Okay? Now you can roll it, which is very important. Now you can see the difference with Man City that left 3 up front. They left 4 up front. And look at already Rodri, like not being comfortable with that situation. He's pointing ahead. Then you're going to see him shortly. He's going to point to Bruno Fernandes, how we're going to see here. But suddenly you can see that Carrick, how you're going to see here, is pointing. Who is going on Bruno Fernandes? Who is going on Bruno Fernandes? Now, if you don't have a 9 that can hold the ball well, he's going to have support. If they don't press well, here you can play short. If they do press well, you have an idea of how you're going to come out. 4 against 4, but Rodri is not comfortable. Play it. Look, you're going to stay now on Ahmad. That's going to take away Aki. The ball's going to go, obviously we already know where it's going to go. Now, he's not comfortable. He's asking Alain to come back, but Alain went on Fernandes. Now, he's going to cover. Obviously, Mbeumo can drop because you have a run maybe from Dorgu, so Kusanov has to stay. Ball is coming on the ground. They worked on it. Why? Because he's coming to play under straight away. Now we can play football. And we are out. You attract short to go long. And again, unfortunately for Dalot, he was offside. But the idea was there. And I want to go back to what Man City didn't do too well. If you want to dislodge a 4-4-2 flat defending, that's what Man City do more often than not. You need to be in between the lines, just like Bruno Fernandes was found. So, have a look. Rodri is asking who wants that ball. At that particular moment, you have your 2, your 8, your holding midfielder, facing the line of 4. Your 10 has to go and play here and ask for that ball here. Do not come to the ball. You make it too easy. That's what too easy in bracket for Mainoo to go and put pressure. Obviously, Cherki is to the ball. You see him, he goes to the ball. Look at the difference between Cherki and Bernardo Silva. Cherki stays low. Look at where Bernardo Silva is going to go, to the pocket. Cherki, you should have been here. And I explain why. If you go here, he has to cut now the pass inside. That's free a pass now for Semenyo. And if Semenyo receives the ball, he has a problem now. Because what I call the domino effect now, you have 5 guys in line. On the contrary to you, it's a 3-2-5, but then you can operate and you can hurt now that team in a 4-4-2 flat. But Cherki kept on coming to the ball and going low. It's too easy to defend for me now. You had an opportunity to have a 3v2 on the side. He goes to get the ball off the centre-back. Now you're bringing it. Look at what you have now. You have an underload. Yes, Semenyo could have dribble past everybody, but you're not dislodging a 4-4-2 like that.
OK, and we're going to go to the goal. And you've got to remember, the guy who scores is in the wall, and so is Bruno Fernandes. And the goals, the counter-attacking goals in the Premier League in the last 18 months have sort of gone off the scale. I think we're almost double, as I said, in the last 18 months than what we've been in the 10 years before. So it's a huge part of the game. So when this ball comes in and Harry Maguire heads it away, that space there, you might think it's not a problem. It is. It is a problem, as we go on to see. Maybe the guy who's taking the free kick is not the right guy to take it because he can't deal with this situation. Now, what he needs to do as he's taken that is to jump and make sure when this ball drops here, he either wins the tackle, not his forte, or give a foul away. He has to stop the counter-attack. So thinking you're okay in this situation in the Premier League right now is not. You're not. Now, he has to make a foul, and then Manchester United away, and it's a fantastic goal from them. The first goal in a big game like this is always hugely important. Bruno Fernandes, fantastic, and then Mbeumo. But Thierry, you need to take over this.
Yes, there's something that I want to talk about. I grew up watching Michael Laudrup, the best passer of the ball that I've ever seen. That's my opinion. As you're going to roll it here, I always saw him, when he wants to pass the ball that way, moving it right to pass it left, move it left to pass it right. Because what it does, it will create a little confusion to the defender. It will make them move and give time and space to his striker. This guy is not playing football, he's thinking about it. That's a different ball game for me. So now, he didn't touch it yet, okay? He's running with the ball. That's the distance, 4 yards. You're running the right way to be able to cut across, the striker. If that ball is played, he's in his momentum, he can run with it. Look at how he has to move away now. Just that, by moving the ball, when Bruno Fernandes moved the ball, just that, the only time he's back on his leg to be able to have the force to go back that way, 2 yards happen in between the first time we stopped it to now. And those 2 yards are going to be vital. He thought about it. He didn't just pass the ball for the sake of passing it. This guy thinks. Now, have a look. When he's about to unleash it, it's 3 yards. Add 2 yards to that. Maybe Mbeumo would have chopped him, if he was too close to him. But maybe he would have blocked it also if he was there. It would have been a different scene. He made that happen. Yes, I know people will say it's easy. It's not easy. It is not easy. He thought about it. He moved him, unleashed it for Mbeumo.
And the second goal, Thierry?
It's just, that was will. I love what Cunha does, because whenever he plays or he comes on, he always brings something extra. Here, that's the sheer desire of wanting to go. Both him wanting to pass his guy and Dorgu to want to attack the ball. That was, for me, that goal summarized exactly what was in the team and what wasn't in the team. Because when Cunha now takes the ball, you're not in real danger. There's a sheer wanting to do something. And then look at that moment. Who is in the box? Nobody's in the box yet. Really. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Man City players, only Dorgu really attacking that ball and having that will and that desire to score. And as you said, nobody stops you from running, so you can do that. And they did it so well.
What a return for Michael Carrick. He got one over Pep Guardiola. He's getting a nice collection of scalps, as he there, above those of the 3 games he took charge of previously when to the fort, beating Unai Emery, drawing with Thomas Tuchel, and beating Mikel Arteta as well. And Manchester United fans have been getting involved on Fanalysis. We posed the question to them. If United qualify for the Champions League, should Michael Carrick be given the job full-time? 70% say yes. He could be building an interesting case based on the analysis I've just been watching from Jamie and Thierry. And later on, we will be having that conversation ourselves. There could be an amazing list of managers and head coaches available for not just Manchester United, but Real Madrid, another club on the lookout this summer. We will get into that.
We would get Jamie Carragher's thoughts on that thrilling performance from Manchester United over Manchester City on Saturday lunchtime. Arguably one of United's best performances in recent seasons. What was most impressive about it for you?
I think the energy of Manchester United in the game, and almost a back to basics sort of idea about how they went about it. We're going to analyse that on Monday Night Football tonight with Thierry Henry and get into the nuts and bolts of that, really. But it did feel like a little bit of a throwback, and I mean that in a complimentary way about how they went about it. Really a lot of talk this week about Manchester United's DNA and what they sort of like and the energy within the stadium, and it was fast, it was energetic, it was counter-attack, and they are the hallmarks of some of the great sides that Michael Carrick actually played in. So it was a brilliant result for them, but there'll be tougher tests to come over the next sort of few months.
Arsenal next.
Yeah, listen, Arsenal,
exactly.
It'll be a different game.
You're the perfect person to ask about Lisandro Martinez's comments that he aimed at Paul Scholes after the match, because Scholes and Nicky Butt had been talking about him and this potential battle, of course, with Erling Haaland in that match on Saturday. But Martinez saying, come and say it to me. Come over to my house if you want. And Scholes replying on social media saying, I'll come round for a cup of tea.
Yeah.
Should he go round for a cup of tea? Should they talk it out?
He should. I mean, I am one to know how this sort of feels.
Yes.
Certainly getting into disputes with players. But what I would say, and I'm sure from Paul Scholes and Nicky Butt's point of view, it's never personal. You know, they're passionate about the club. I'm passionate about Liverpool. But I do think in our job, we give opinions on players and managers. So if someone wants to give an opinion on us, you've got to take it. You know, you can't be one way. Yeah. So listen, I think Paul Scholes made a really good joke about it. Hopefully they'll have a little cup of tea together, shake on it, and move on from there.
And that's it. Right, let's talk about the club you are very passionate about then in Liverpool. 6 draws now in their last 9 Premier League games. What's been, I don't know, maybe most concerning for you? What are the issues that we've seen across this run, and does Arne Slot have the answers?
The concerning thing over this run is Liverpool are playing with the handbrake on. Now, I don't think that was the case at the weekend. I think Liverpool played really well, and sometimes you have to accept you don't get the result that you really deserve, which Liverpool did. So I don't think this game in isolation reflects what we've seen over the last couple of months. But the dilemma for every manager in every team, in every league, no matter what you're playing, where you're playing, is balance between attack and defence. Now, the balance wasn't right at the start of the season. It fell too much in the attacking sense, and Liverpool were leaving themselves open at the back. End-to-end games, lots of goals. So Arne Slot has stopped that. He's stopped the defeats, right? But the balance has almost gone too far one way now, where that energy and pace in the team isn't there. So it's a lot slower. The footballers are a lot big pragmatic, if you would like, but he's done that to stop the end-to-end games, to try and make the team stronger defensively. Now he's always got to move this needle a little bit more attacking. And listen, if it was easy, you know, every manager could do it. But that's the conundrum for everybody, getting the balance between attack and defence. And he hasn't been able to get that right all season. It was too far one way at the start of the season. Now it's maybe too far the other way. Maybe Mo Salah will change it when he's back.
OK, well, you said it, not me. Right, we've had this incredible weekend of Premier League action, but it's not over yet, is it? That's why we're here now. A brilliant South Coast clash between Brighton and Bournemouth. What are you expecting from this game tonight?
A really good game. Really impressed by both coaches. We want to speak to them, you know, before the game. They like their teams to play like I would associate top teams playing. Now, Bournemouth find themselves near the bottom of the table. I don't want to really associate them with that area of the table. We know, as I said, we know the Premier League this season is really strange. That it's so tight. You know, a couple of wins and you're back up there. Yeah. So really looking forward to 2 great coaches, great sets of players, and lots of brilliant analysis because Thierry Henry's on, and he's a fantastic analyst.
What are you going to get? What are you going to be getting into?
I think the big things we want to look at tonight is obviously the Crystal Palace Glasgow situation. That'll be more of a chat, looking at both teams' strengths and weaknesses, of course, who are playing on the night. But the real big analysis that we're going to get into is Manchester United and Manchester City.
Didn't expect you to say that.
Yeah, we're getting into that. You know, Thierry's going to look at some of the negatives of Manchester City and why they maybe made it easier for Manchester United in terms of the pressing in the game, and to have a look at Liam Rosenior's sort of Chelsea. He's had 3 games now, and there's things that have sort of stood out in all 3 games that you look at and think, OK, that's his idea. So we're going to have a real look at that, not necessarily just the game at the weekend against Brentford. We look at a couple of clips from the Arsenal game as well and sort of try and find out exactly what Chelsea are going to be like under the new manager.
It feels like you need more than an hour and a half build-up for this one, doesn't it? Right, we'll join Jamie alongside Thierry Henry and Dave Jones from 6:30 on Sky Sports Main Event and Sky Sports Premier League. Yeah, should be good, shouldn't it? Right, we've got our own little analyst here in the studio, though, for the Premier League show. Former Crystal Palace striker Clinton Morrison still alongside me. Let's talk about Man United then. I don't know anyone that predicted they would play like they did against Manchester City on the weekend. Just how impressed were you by that performance?
Well, you heard Gary Neville saying that clip is one of the best performances he's seen. I think it's one of the best performances I've seen in 3 or 4 years at Man United. I think it was fantastic. If you'd asked me beforehand, that performance would have come? No, I thought Man City would have beat Man United comfortably on the day because they'd been in good form and Man United not been in the greatest of form. Sometimes you can have that and manage a bounce. So I know Man United fans I'm not going to, dampen everything because it was a fantastic result, but the next couple of games are massively important for them. But what a start for it. I thought they were fantastic, the way they pressed, the way they closed that. They won 2-0. They could have won 5 or 6-0. I thought they were fantastic. And the team he picked us with no Cunha, I was surprised. Dorgu was in the team. Outstanding, gets his goal. So full credit must go to Michael Carrick. I think he's brought in Steve Holland. He's got good experience having worked with Gareth Southgate. I think he will help him. But, yeah, huge credit. What a result for Man United.
What were the big changes then for you? Because, obviously, you've sort of alluded to what Jamie Carragher was saying there, where it sort of felt like the Manchester United of old that you were watching at times during that match. Was it as simple as, players playing in their natural positions, whether that's Bruno, you talked about Patrick Dorgu's role there,
yep.
Mainoo starting again. What were the big things for you?
Yeah, players playing in their positions and players knowing their roles and bringing experienced players back in as well also. So, yeah, that's the biggest thing. And then you've got quality. Ahmad's quality. He's just come back from AFCON. He was brilliant for Ivory Coast. Ahmad, you've got Bruno Fernandes, one of the best midfielders in the Premier League for me, playing in his right position, not playing in one of the two, playing in his favoured little number 10 position where he can go and cause problems and create stuff. He's one of the best at doing that. The biggest surprise was no Cunha. I was surprised, but he brought Cunha on. He had an effect. Brian Mbeumo caused a lot of problems, plays on the shoulders as he scored it with his goal where Bruno plays, because Bruno could have easily played it to the right. Bruno probably played the most difficult pass but made it look so easy. Everyone at home would say it's an easy pass. It's not an easy pass. He's running at such speed, he has to slow it, the timing of the pass. Brian Mbeumo has to time his run and the finish is outstanding. I thought everything Michael Carrick was doing on the training pitch, the players implicated that onto the pitch. I thought it was a brilliant performance.
On Bruno then, did it just show him playing that number 10 role that is where you get the best out of him? Yeah, he needs to play in that position.
You can't put him in the two. Bruno's not one who wants to be tracking back, making tackles and blocks like that. What Bruno Fernandes wants to do is getting on the ball, making things happen, creating chances. The likes of Šeško, Cunha and Mbeumo want Bruno Fernandes closer to them. And that's where Man United fans and Man United players want Bruno is higher up the pitch to go and cause problems. I thought he was outstanding. He was unlucky. His offside goal would have been fantastic. The finish where he goes round the goalkeeper and then the defender slides in and he chops him and then rolls it into the empty net. I was like, oh, VAR, don't get involved. Or the offside, don't get involved. It was that good. But no, he's a top player, Bruno Fernandes, and I hope he stays at Man United for many years. Obviously, there was talks of him being linked away. Now, he's key. Captain, fantastic. And I thought it was a captain's performance on the weekend. And I hope from now to the end of the season, Man United can go on a good run, and because Michael Carrick thoroughly deserves it.
Yeah. What about Kobbie Mainoo then? Because that was one of the headlines when the team news broke an hour before kick-off, the fact that he was starting alongside Casemiro. And you saw the pictures at the end as well, where him and Carrick were embracing. Did he repay Carrick's faith by starting that match? Yeah,
he did. And he had, I thought he had a good game, Kobbie Mainoo. Listen, there's been a lot of talk about Kobbie Mainoo. Should he be playing? Should he not be playing? But he's come through the ranks. The Man United fans want to see him on the pitch, and I think he's an outstanding player. You got to think, a couple of years ago, he was starting for England at the Euros. He was a starter there, and then all of a sudden he hasn't been given game time. Ruben Amorim preferred Casemiro and Bruno, who's not a natural centre midfielder. Then he's put Agate ahead of him, who's nowhere near as good as, for me, as Kobbie Mainoo is. So I'm glad Kobbie Mainoo got his opportunity. It's up to him to knuckle down now. He's been given the opportunity. There was talk of him leaving, and maybe he would have left if Ruben Amorim was in charge. He'll stay at Man United. Carrick will give him an opportunity. Now it's down to Kobbie Mainoo to get a run of games and rediscover his form, because we know he's a credible young talent.
Yeah. Right, let's bring Dave into the conversation then. He's been taking a closer look at
Bruno Fernandes further forward in that familiar number 10 position, and he is surrounded by pace as well in Ahmad, Dorgu and Brian Mbeumo up front. Now, one of the reasons why Fernandes is so good in that position is his ability to find space. He received more passes between the lines than in any Premier League game this season. Now, between the lines, if you're unfamiliar, is that space between the opponent's midfield and defence, which is considered a big area from which to generate chances from. He received the ball in that area 13 times, 6 more than in any other game he has played in this season. Really important. And these examples are all from the first half an hour of the game on Saturday lunchtime. Luke Shaw finds the run. There he is in between the lines, behind the midfield, in front of the defence, and he is able to set Dorgu away down the left and United win a corner from that position. Another opportunity here, first time ball into Fernandes, finds space beside Rodri, and he plays the ball out wide to Dalot, who eventually gets it to Amad, and a chance is created here on the edge of the box for Kobbie Mainoo, which is eventually saved by Donnarumma. But that's the space you want Fernandes in. And his opportunity actually was to find space ready for the counter-attack. He sets away Amad on that occasion, and another opportunity for Manchester United. And really, he is in a league of his own when it comes to chances created in the Premier League. This is the list since his Premier League debut. So since January 2020, Bruno Fernandes has hit the landmark of 600 chances created, way ahead of everyone else on the list. Kevin De Bruyne is there with 432. Then comes Mo Salah on 396. Some big names as well on that list. Bukayo Saka, Trent Alexander-Arnold and Martin Odegaard. But Bruno Fernandes out there on his own on 600. What a player.
What intensity that Man United showed, I think it was the key aspect of the game. And if we show that by just have a look at the most sprints in the Manchester derby this week. This is the top 5 for the most sprints in the game. Man United occupying the top 4 spots in that. Amad coming back with 30. Dorgu, Bruno Fernandes. Dalot actually got forward really well as well from right back. Most sprints for Manchester City? A centre-back. It just shows to show, doesn't it? Running back towards his own goal, really, wasn't it? That's it.
But it was evident in the game. It was evident watching it, you know. And these are the basics. These are the basics. You have world-class players that can maybe do things special, keep the ball, create special moments. This is the basics. Roll your sleeves up, work hard, make runs, ask questions of defenders. And they did the basics very, very well. And then we saw that clip there when they was on the ball. Then the quality comes through. Then the quality in Fernandes in the number 10 role and the cleverness of finding that space and picking passes.
How often have we heard Man United fans say, we want our team to play fast, flowing, attacking football, get our wingers on the ball. And actually, this weekend against Man City, it was the most fast breaks in a single game. 5 this weekend. And every time they went forward, they looked like they might score as well.
Honestly, it must have been a breath of fresh air for him because I enjoyed watching him play.
Yeah.
And I'm not a Manchester United fan. I enjoyed watching that match. I enjoyed watching him play. And they got the response from the crowd. You could hear the atmosphere, you know, at Old Trafford. It was like what it used to be.
Yeah. Is this the blueprint? Is it a one-off? That's the key now, isn't it? Because they've got to do it more consistently. It can't just be one performance against their nearest rivals. Let's have a look at them out of possession and how they set up Man United. 4-4-2. And actually pushed in quite high, aren't they? You said about having a spare man at the back. That's really key. Yep. 1, 2, 3, 4. There's your back 4. Man City. 1, 2, 3. So you've got 1 spare man. So 4 against 3. They actually do leave quite a bit of space in here where Man City like to get bodies, don't they? Like to get Foden, Cherky, people like that into that number 10 position. But you know, Man United were happy to try and press.
Well, can I just stop you there, Matt?
Yeah.
That's fine to leave that space when nobody's in there. So there's no Manchester City player occupying that space.
Yeah.
So therefore, you might say Haaland might drop into there. You know, the goalkeeper might be clever enough to find a pass in there. When you are 4 against 3, it allows, like we said earlier, the defender to go tight. So they're absolutely fine there. They're perfect there. If Haaland came short, one of the centre-backs, Harry, can go as tight as you like, knowing you've got a spare man. Yeah. Knowing you've got a spare man. So the setup's perfect.
Yeah, and I think what they did as well, and we'll see it now, you can actually see it with the body shape. They're forcing City this way. They're saying, come this way. Out to the youngster, Max Lane. Let him have the ball. Play it on. He picks up possession. United quickly across. Mainoo was squeezed in from his midfield position. If they're going to leave anybody spare, it's the opposite side of the pitch. They're the 2 that they're going to leave spare.
Again, intensity though, intensity in the pressing is what we're seeing.
And everyone's forcing them this way and down that left-hand side. We play it on. City give the ball away. Another clip. Another time, Man United, see Bruno Fernandes has stopped him playing out. So he stopped him playing this ball. He said, no, you can go out this way. Again, Max Lane on the ball. Picks up possession. As soon as he's trying to play the ball, look at how many Man United shirts are getting tight. Gives the ball away. Poor pass. And how often do we see this from Man City? I can't really remember it too often. Yes, Ederson plays that longer ball through to Erling Haaland. I'm going to play it on a little. Max Alone picks up possession. He's looking for a ball. They're so good at tiki-taka football in that
Yes.
midfield, getting
Yes.
3 and 4 passes before they get out. He's got nothing on. Harry Maguire's read it already. He's dropped into that position. He doesn't want really a runner behind because he's not the quickest, Harry Maguire, but he's read that ball down the channel, wins the ball, and then can you keep it? They get a touch, they get a hold of it, they keep the ball and keep possession.
But if you go back to that clip at the start of that clip, Matt, the one before.
We'll continue it on. I think that counter-attacks as well. You're talking about United, fast breaks now. Can you get bodies into forward positions? If we stop it now, how many have you got in that position now? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And you're getting it backed up, aren't you? We'll play it on. Yeah. Yeah. Dorgu at the far post. Unlucky. Can they break again? Bruno Fernandes in that number 10 position on the half turn. Runners in behind, and Mbeumo and Ahmad stretching the pitch. Can you get bodies up? Mbeumo's in the box. Fairly simple header for Donnarumma. This is Man United in a nutshell. This is what Man United fans have been crying out for. Can you break? Can you break at speed? If we stop it there, look at that now. You've got four Manchester United players up against 2 City defenders. You've got runners. You've got people who are wanting to spin in behind. And Mbeumo's run is so intelligent. Play it on. And Mbeumo's movement is absolutely fantastic into the space, but it's the weight of pass. He doesn't have to have a touch.
But again, it's having Fernandes in these positions. You know, he makes the right decision 9 times out of 10.
Yeah.
And it's all right having runners in behind, but it's runs with purpose. Now, they was running with a purpose to score the goal.
Yeah.
And you've got Bruno Fernandes on the ball in them dangerous positions. He chooses the right pass.
If we stop it now and you just look at the picture, you've got Man United with every single Man United body inside the box. Bruno Fernandes just outside. He's in the D. But Man United have got everybody behind the box. Keep an eye on Ahmad on the right-hand side of the box and watch. He's the one that ends up getting the shot away. If we play it on, as soon as they win it back, watch them go. So he wins the first header, Luke Shaw. Patrick Dorgu tries to challenge, but eventually picks up possession, gets Bruno Fernandes on the ball. Ahmad's away, and the pace that he shows, the quality that he shows, he's so unlucky. Beats Nathan Ake, and he's so unlucky to see it come off the post. So Michael Carrick off to a winning start. I think it's only Arsenal next.
It was what I was going to say, you know, we didn't have time to go back to that other clip, but I was saying in terms of the build-up and the way that Bruno Fernandes pressed and the kind of little details, what you saw, even the few days that Michael Carrick had, the details you saw, and Steve Holland, who I know very, very well, by the way, you know, to play and to push the play down the one side. You're seeing these little details already from Michael Carrick and what he's putting on his team.
Can I ask you about Steve Holland? Because there's a lot of people talking about him and how it was a masterstroke for Michael Carrick to get him in. How good a coach is he?
No, I agree. And look at his pedigree that he's worked under the likes of Jose Mourinho, the likes of Antonio Conte, you know, Gareth Southgate at England. His experience, he's a proper football man, and he will certainly help with Michael Carrick's progression at Manchester United and also this team to help him push forward. But no, very experienced, very good coach, very knowledgeable.
No, brilliant. So, yeah, great victory for Man United. What Leroy thought of it. Let's head over to Leroy. Leroy, what did you make of the performance from Man United? I know you watched the game.
Yeah, I did. It was impressive. You know, and Gary was absolutely right about them getting the basics right, which kind of gave him the platform to have that sort of performance. And I thought Kobbie Mainoo was terrific, and he kind of went a little bit unnoticed because of the Bruno Fernandes and Mbeumo getting the goal. So I want to just go back to Michael Carrick, talk to Gary Neville before the game about Kobbie Mainoo.
Yeah, listen, I think Kobbie's a fantastic player. He's got huge talent. He's got huge ability. I think a big thing for me is he's played in some unbelievably big occasions already and coped with it. And I think being able to cope with it, like you just said about the expectation, and he's played for the national team in huge games as well. So that element of it goes with the talent, and I'm looking forward to seeing him thrive.
It's brilliant. I just think that Michael Carrick might be the best thing that's ever happened to Kobbie Mainoo going back to Old Trafford. And I thought that performance was terrific. It's a guy who's been out of the side for I don't know how long. Ruben Amorim didn't want to play him. And I've just got some clips of him here. And I just want to go through it. And we're talking about the basics, but he did them really well. I mean, just picking him up here, just highlight. I'm just going to stop it there. And the first thing he did, being in that position, Gary, was allow Bruno Fernandes to be in that position. But what he also did was give Casemiro some cover. And it was no surprise, Gary, that Casemiro and Bruno Fernandes both played well because he was in that midfield.
Yeah, it's been crying out for him. It really has, honestly. Legs, you know, and I think in terms of Casemiro, it's a slight worry for me when I watch him in terms of when the game gets stretched. I don't think he's got the mobility and the legs. He's got the quality, of course, and the experience. But having someone like Kobbie Mainoo next to him, you know, allows him to do the defensive work more. Casemiro can get on the ball and start attacks. And Fernandes, I think that's been the most obvious thing to have him in that higher up role, in that number 10 role. Like I said, he can play the deeper one. I'm almost like a quarterback type of play.
Yeah.
But to hurt teams, you need him in that number 10 space where he can, you know, really hurt teams.
Kobbie Mainoo's not necessarily the most mobile himself.
No.
Is he? You know, you're talking about the most mobile midfield there with Kobbie Mainoo and Casemiro at the base of it. But something that Michael Carrick said really picked up my attention. He was talking about his mentality, how he can deal with the big occasion. He's done it already for England. He's done it at international level. He's done it for Manchester United in cup finals and big games. And he said that he didn't have any worries about throwing him into this game because he's got that mentality to deal with it.
Exactly.
Got the personality to deal with it.
Absolutely. And you just see there, the three of them in midfield gave them that extra man in midfield, and it gave him a chance to sort the ball out, to get the ball down and play. I'm just going to play this on, because what he does is really simple. Bruno Fernandes gets on the ball, they sort it out, and bang, they're out the other side. Out the other side, and look at that. Look how quickly they can attack, because Bruno's recognised it. This is really important, and I say, being the second midfield player, getting your blocks in, you know, edge of the box. Casemiro is beaten, and his edge of the box, a terrific block. All this dirty stuff that that goes unnoticed, and you highlight this before. The play, and I'm going to stop it there because this is them. This is the three of them. That's Casemiro, that's Kobbie Mainoo, and that's Bruno Fernandes. All nowhere near where they should be, but because they do that
rondo square that you do in training.
It's about sorting the ball out and getting good possession, and they do that brilliantly between the three of them. You know, so and how important is that? I'm just going to stop because I'm talking about, you know, rondos and playing in tight areas. I hadn't seen that with Ruben Amorim, but we do it every day, didn't Gary? Do a rondo.
Carrick reintroduced it.
Did he?
Manchester United.
Did he? Yeah. Why?
Carrick's one of the best at these 1-2.
Yeah, true.
One of the best in the game.
Yeah.
Well, again, we're talking about Manchester United. This is what you expect. This is the quality that you expect in tight situations. Bump, 2-3 passes, and out the other side you go, and away you go. And they did that very, very well, and he was key in that.
Absolutely. And again, another one. Lovely turn. Again, you've highlighted it, but confident. And he did this throughout the game, just sorted things out. I'm just going to, again, just stop it there. So I just wanted to highlight this. This is this is Bruno Fernandes, and that's the three of them in that little area again, all together in that area. And just look what happens from here. He gets back, makes a tackle, and they're all really tight. And look at United from being very narrow. It's half the pitch they're defending in, and this again, two touch. It may look really simple, but
The best players make it look simple.
Well, you're right. That holding midfield is not a flattering role. No. I've played with the likes of Kante, Matic, Mikel. It is so important. You know, they put fires out, they dictate the start of the play. And like you said, it's tidy, but it's not always glamorous.
No.
But it's really, really important. It's what Manchester United's been lacking, I feel, for a long, long time in that position.
It's really good you mentioned those players, Gary, because when you played with them afterwards, did they ever get the man of the match?
Yeah.
Not often. It was usually the goal scorers, wasn't it? Or usually because you defended well.
Of course, because it's that's a glamorous role, isn't it?
Yeah.
But when you look at the likes of, I mean, let's don't get me wrong, Kante, for example, absolutely world class in that position. Everyone knows that. I've just reeled off Mikel, Matic. You know, there was others as well in the past. Sen. And it's so key.
Yeah.
It's so key for the defence, you know, because then you can always worry about what's in behind you, and you know that if they're screening in front of you, you know that they're going to put the fires out.
Yeah.
And it's a vital role in the team.
Absolutely, and he did it really well at Old Trafford this weekend. Again, putting fires out and playing forward. And you said about him not being the most mobile, but what he does do, he recognises when he can get forward. I'm going to stop it there because he plays it into Bruno Fernandes, and then he just keeps going. And he's got goals in his game as well.
Yeah, he has, yeah.
And so
he's composed when he's in front of goal, isn't it? Well?
Absolutely. So I thought it was a terrific performance. I didn't think Michael Carrick thought it was brilliant as well. Gave him a big hug, and it's great to see him back. I just want to show you his stats, and this kind of backs up his performance. Look at this.
Yeah.
51 touches second, passes 35 second, completed passes 32 first, duels won 6 second, aerial duels won 2 first. He was right up there. And as a midfield player, you can recognise that.
So why didn't Ruben Amorim take to him? Why didn't he play him? simply because he wanted Bruno Fernandes in the team, and the only way you could get Bruno Fernandes in the team was in that deeper midfield role? Is that the only reason why, do you think?
I've no idea. I've absolutely no idea. I really haven't. I mean, Bruno Fernandes is playing in that team no matter what. You know, he's the star of that show. But like we keep saying, repeating myself, but you need to be in that more attacking role where you can hurt teams. But again, he was excellent alongside the other 10 players as well, let's be right.